Here are some brief remarks on Aristotle, his essay, The Rise of the Study of Style, on prose style. So he talks about clarity, which is a mean between ordinary speech and poetical language. He's placing himself in that place where people of his era, men mostly, propertied men, spoke to kind of more official sorts of audiences. When you spoke to your friends on the street, you used ordinary speech. When you wrote poetry or you wrote plays or whatever, you use poetical language. So Aristotle was interested in that middle speech where you communicated with maybe a law court or with others, where you were making a speech and that sort of thing. So authors should compose without being noticed and should seem to speak not artificially but naturally. And this goes along with that kind of middle speech. And he talks about metaphor. This was one of the parts of the piece that that interested me. He says, thus it is clear that if one composes well, there will be an unfamiliar quality and it escapes notice and will be clear. So here's my commentary on this. In order to find that mean, Aristotle suggests we use metaphor, taking ordinary ideas, images, and using them in new and different ways that are understandable because they are ordinary, but also because the meaning produced becomes suddenly and unaccountably clear. We understand a metaphor because we know its individual parts, even though they're used in ways that are unaccustomed. So this kind of unfamiliar quality is more of a kind of an unfamiliar juxtaposition, that we recognize immediately as something logical, because it makes a picture in our mind, you know. And then he talks about simile. He says that simile is also a metaphor, for there is little difference when the poet says, and here he's talking about Homer. You know, he doesn't actually say this, but this is something Homer would have said or could have said. He rushed as a lion. It is a simile, but the lion rushed with the lion referring to the man would be a metaphor, since both are brave. He used a metaphor, meaning a simile, and spoke of Achilles as a lion. So it's useful to look at the notes to understand that the editor's notes, you know, in the back of the essay, to understand that Aristotle is talking about similes and metaphors similarly. The editors say that the Greeks mainly used similes, and when they use metaphors, they reduce the simile, as he does above when he removes the as and merely equates Achilles with the lion, because they are both brave. Okay, what this says to me, and it goes for Aristotle's take on style in general in this piece, is that he was early on in determining what is good style and how it can be used to communicate clearly. He's working out the principles here, but it is not, but he's not doing it in a rigorous way that will come later with subsequent Greek and Roman treatments of style and rhetoric. Aristotle gives us a rough introduction to how the Greeks, as part of the origin of the Western rhetorical tradition, thought of style. We see, especially in Aristotle's desire for clarity, Williams's own insistence on clarity as an integral part of a good style. Aristotle's reliance on figures of speech, metaphor, simile, etc., as part of a muscular style will be detailed and elaborated on in Holcomb and Killingsworth. Okay, thanks, bye.